Hello my friends, and welcome back to a new week in a brand new Realm News Flash, titled Snapshot 25w31a, AI Censorship, Corruption, and Minecraft Content Creator and Musician, Randy Bishop. This is your place for all the latest Minecraft news that has occurred in the past week, and we have some news today. But first, allow me to introduce myself. I am the host of the show, the Dark Lord. The one who puts the real in realm and expands your mind one block at a time. I'm here to present to you a bit of news that has been released by Mojang in the form of copper horse armor, and then move on to something that isn't directly linked to Minecraft, but it does have its effects on content creators. I am talking about the YouTube AI censorship controversy. I will be going very far in depth in this subject today. After that, I have a sneak peek into August 7th's Realm News episode with content creator, musician, and frontman of the band The Bell Beat. With that said, let's start the show with the news. I am recording this Sunday, August 3rd, and all subjects may have changed by the time you listen to this. On July 29th, 2025, Mojang's Java team released an article titled Minecraft Snapshot 25w31a. This article states that the Java team has added all of the new copper additions and shells from the third game drop to Java experimental mode, but with one very special addition that was unknown until this article's publication. We learned in the very last three bullets under the copper equipment subtitle, quote, added copper horse armor has the same loot table and chance of generating as iron horse armor, armor toughness 4. End quote. The loot table, according to Minecraft.wiki, lists that you can find the iron horse armor in these places. Quote, Monster Room, Desert Pyramid, End City, Jungle Pyramid, Nether Fortress, Stronghold, and Village, end quote. This means that the copper horse armor will be found there as well. I personally think that this is absolutely amazing to have copper horse armor in the game, and I think that it just makes sense since we have all the other armor varieties except for netherite horse armor, and it oxidizes the same as the rest of all the other copper-made materials. I haven't made a poll over this yet, but I believe that this is unanimously appreciated, just across the board. Along with horse armor, we also got a small tweak to the lightning rod, which is made purely of copper. The developers have finally made the lightning rod tarnish with time or oxidize in order to create parity with all the other copper items. This has also been widely appreciated by the Minecraft community, and this will add more nuance to the game when it comes to aesthetics. I would like to now end our Minecraft-specific news there for today, and now shift over to our other news story that recently took headlines across the globe. This does affect Minecraft content creators. I am referring to the YouTube AI censorship controversy. According to news outlet The Guardian's article titled, YouTube to gauge US users' ages with AI after UK and Australia add age checks, written by Blake Montgomery and published on July 30th, 2025. As the article's title suggests, Google, YouTube's parent company, or if you want to go up even higher, who owns Google and YouTube, is Alphabet, will now start to roll out sweeping AI scanning technology to detect potential minors. According to the director of product management and YouTube Youth, James Besser wrote in blog.youtube, quote, over the next few weeks, we'll begin to roll out machine learning to a small set of users in the United States to estimate their age so that teens are treated as teens and adults as adults, end quote. And once the site does determine a minor, quote, the site will disable personalized advertising, activate digital well-being features, and put stricter content filters as well as behavioral restrictions into place, end quote. This has unleashed a whole flurry of resentment and backlash on social media platforms from people outraged by censorship, and they feel like their human rights are being violated. People are feeling threatened that they are being forced to hand over their identities to a faceless AI machine that will determine their age. This does raise some great concerns. People online are worried that this is targeting free speech. They are angry at the fact that if the AI age assurance or verification tool gets the age wrong, the victim will then have to provide a credit card and a license, a government ID, in order to rectify the injustice. This AI censorship in the United States comes one day after the Australian government banned 16-year-olds from using the media platform. Also, on July 25th, the United Kingdom passed its highly controversial act called the Online Safety Act. The British Online Safety Act is meant to, quote, prevent them or teens from accessing pornography or content that promotes dangerous behavior or face large fines, end quote. I believe it is safe to say that it is a good thing to safeguard minors from such heinous content, but there are real concerns around the fact that AI is making the decisions on age and without the consent from the people that it's reviewing. Realm News has reported on AI in the past, specifically in reaction to October 31st, 2024 release of the AI-generated game Oasis by Descartes, teamed with hardware chip company Etched, who created a game that was made to mimic Minecraft but did an awful job doing so. Realm News has repeatedly stated that we do not support anything made by AI that is in the art arena. Stay out of human creativity, I say. No place for machinery or code in the world of art, I say. I won't deny that AI has its place and is an extremely effective tool in organizing our lives and helping facilitate basic tasks. But I will never appreciate a video game or any form of publication or art made by a soulless code. So, I see YouTube's use of AI to censor people as a corporate maneuver to make more money by data mining or stealing and using personal data to increase revenue. Back to Besser's blog post, where I found a quote of them explaining what the victim of misidentification must do to correct their identity with YouTube if AI creates an error. Quote, if the system incorrectly estimates a user to be under 18, they will have the option to verify that they are 18 or over, such as using a credit card or a government ID. We will only allow users who have been inferred or verified as over 18 to view age-restricted content that may be inappropriate for younger users, end quote. So, if a mistake is made by an AI black box by guessing the age of a person incorrectly, the victim is then forced to provide very personal information in the form of a credit card or government ID, I guess. Something here just sounds very wrong. Maybe because it is. They are literally using this to absorb much more data to do who knows what with it. Probably to sell to the Trump regime in order to track political opponents. That's my personal theory. First off, why would you give a payment method over to a company that flagged you in error? Why a credit card? It sounds very disingenuous for a large corporation to force people to hand over credit card information. I wouldn't trust them, but that's just me. I wouldn't trust them with my government ID either. In a world where the tech companies sell your personal information for profit, this is absolutely a corporate scam. It just must be. I should state that this is pure conjecture from my end, but I don't know how to see it otherwise, especially under the Trump regime where he is in cahoots with all the major tech companies in the country. An example of how close Trump is to YouTube's parent company Alphabet is seen in this article that I found at Politico.com, titled Google Gives $1 Million to Trump Inauguration, written by Stephen Overly and published on January 1st, 2025 this year. It goes on to state, quote, Google has donated $1 million to President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration fund, the company confirmed to Politico Thursday, matching contributions from Meta, Amazon, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, and Apple CEO Tim Cook, end quote. This was during the time when all the tech companies were doing their best to placate and massage the impending dictator's massive ego in order to boost revenue and to surely buy favoritism. Alphabet, who is the parent company of Google and thus YouTube, went ahead and delivered this statement around the time showing just how much they were willing to support the upcoming president-elect, or dictator, I should say. Karen Bhatia, Google's global head of government affairs and public policy, said this, quote, Google is pleased to support the 2025 inauguration with a live stream on YouTube and a direct link on our homepage. We're also donating to the inaugural committee, end quote. Now, why do I say all of this? What does YouTube and Trump regime have in common, and why does this affect Minecraft? Well, the Trump regime, as I pointed out just now, has received a substantial amount of money from Alphabet, along with all the other tech bros and companies out there who were lining up to gain favoritism when he took power. Also, the Trump regime loves artificial intelligence. This can be seen at AI.gov. Yes, AI.gov. I thought it was a joke when I stumbled upon it, but this is a legit branch of government. Warning. The homepage will destroy your eyeballs because it is a complete photo of the dictator himself making a sort of constipated face as he does when he wants to look important. It's absolutely hideous. But if you scroll down a wee bit, you will see an action plan that sounds like it was written by a child with an oversimplified outlook on life. The whole site reads at a 4th grade reading level, and there is no real plan at all in it. Here is the action plan. Quote, the United States is in a race to achieve global dominance in artificial intelligence. Whoever has the largest AI ecosystem will set the global standards and reap broad economic and security benefits. Under President Trump, our nation will win, ushering in a new golden age of innovation, human flourishing, and technological achievement for the American people. America's AI action plan has 3 policy pillars: accelerating innovation, building AI infrastructure, and leading international diplomacy and security, end quote. All of the written content on this government website sounds all just like that. Propaganda, 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 over and over and over in circles. Now, I read that oversimplified pipe dream to you all just to prove a point. Dictator Trump loves AI. He loves crypto and AI because it is fast and cheap and is easy to manipulate. There's a rhyme for you. Much of this is heavy speculation from me. However, I will be keeping an eye on this report as it unfolds over time. So, how does this affect Minecraft, my Dark Lord? You may be asking. Well, it does affect the Minecraft community because millions of crafters who are streamers and like to provide their content on YouTube are feeling violated by the new policy and actions taking place and made by YouTube. I would like to now focus on some concerns around the use of AI as a tool for age assurance or verification, essentially as a tool for collecting your identity. At this juncture, it is imperative to clarify that Realm News firmly opposes the production and dissemination of harmful content to minors. I firmly support human moderators in determining the appropriate level of censorship and vehemently oppose the implementation of artificial intelligence, AI, in this regard. This fundamental disagreement is the root cause of my concerns regarding this matter. Moving on. First, I would like to point out a few problems that surround the use of AI with age verification and censorship. Accuracy and misinformation are always a problem with AI trying to identify its client or target. As stated earlier in this news report, if your age is misidentified on YouTube, then you will have to provide proof of a credit card or a government-issued ID. This in itself raises great concern because it essentially poses a threat to online anonymity. Article19.org, which the name of this organization derives from the Declaration of Human Rights, which, according to Wiki, quote, Drafted by a United Nations committee chaired by Eleanor Roosevelt, it was accepted by the General Assembly as Resolution 217 during its third session on December 10th, 1948, at the Palais de Chaillot in Paris, France. End quote. I mention this as background and to show the organization's seriousness when it comes to human rights of expression and speech. Article19.org under Section 1, page 11 says, anonymity, quote, is a key concept in the protection of freedom of expression as well as the right to privacy. At its simplest, anonymity is the fact of not being identified, and, in this sense, it is part of the ordinary experience of most people on a daily basis, e.g., walking as part of a crowd or standing in a queue of strangers, end quote. It is considered to be a basic human right, which is now being seen as infringed upon with the use of AI identification systems. NewAmerica.org has an amazing periodical that outlines in great detail and in great depth the threat of age verification technology, and then provides towards the end ethical ways that age verification and censorship to protect minors can be achieved safely and effectively without infringing on our basic human rights and freedom of expression and free speech. In 2022, a French commission called the French Commission on Information Technology and Liberties, or CNIL for short, did an investigation into the matter of age verification by looking into 6 quote-unquote common solutions for age assurance. These 6 common practices are the following: payment card validation, facial analysis, offline verification, identity documentation, government-provided tools, and inferential verification. CNIL was looking to see if these 6 practices provided, quote, sufficiently reliable verification, complete coverage of the population, and respect for the protection of individuals' data and privacy and their security, end quote. Their conclusion was, quote, there is currently no solution that satisfactorily meets these 3 requirements, end quote. It appears that a well-respected agency who was tasked with reviewing these 6 practices in age assurance or verification has concluded that all 6 fail. The kicker is that AI age assurance technologies may also be infringing on our First Amendment in the United States, which is the freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. It can infringe on these rights because if one of those 6 faulty factors I just listed overwhelms the online operator or the data collection site, then it may choose to, quote, it may feel obligated to censor or restrict content available for all users to avoid legal action and liability, end quote. Essentially just shutting down everybody, which if that scenario did play out, then it would lead to, quote, many age verification laws aimed at protecting children inadvertently limit access to content and infringe on all users' First Amendment rights, end quote. It's a hypothetical situation, but a possibility. And yes, I know I am throwing out a lot of information at you and quotes, but I see this as important for building a narrative and to provide a better overview of this picture. YouTube using technology to censor minors is not a new concept in this country. The Communications Decency Act of 1996 and the Child Online Protection Act of 1998 were both deemed unconstitutional. These 2 acts were struck down by the Supreme Court. The Communications Decency Act was annihilated in 1997 and the Child Online Protection Act in 2009. More specifically, these were struck down by the justices, quote, for being overly broad, restricting freedom of expression, and limiting access to protected speech, end quote. YouTube implementing this is not part of a government act, but there are hopes that enough backlash will result in the banning of AI age assurance like these 2 previous attempts of censorship that I just stated. I should go on to tell you that YouTube has dabbled with AI in the past for censoring content, and it backfired on them. In the Verges.com article written by Jacob Kastranakis, titled YouTube Will Rely More on AI Moderation While Human Reviewers Can't Come to the Office, published March 16th, 2020, shows that YouTube has attempted to replace their human staff during COVID with AI. At the time, YouTube said, quote, "We recognize this may be a disruption for our users and creators," end quote. YouTube essentially knew that this was going to cause issues in the form of content being wrongfully removed. And they were right, because another article published the same year, just 6 months and 1 week after the last article I read was published, Verge.com on September 21st, 2020, written by James Vincent, titled, "YouTube brings back more human moderators after AI systems over-censor," end quote, goes on to report that this was an utter failure to use AI to replace human moderators. Around 11 million videos were removed from YouTube between the months of April and June, which is 3 months end to end. That is simply an astonishingly high number. Out of these 11 million removals, 320,000 were appealed, and 160,000 of those, which is half of those, were reinstated, resulting in only 0.00001% of all those 11 million, but still a massive amount of content to be wrongfully taken down when you look at it in a whole number value. They admitted that the AI systems overreacted to videos, which resulted in this large removal of content. Humans, as the title of the last article I read suggests, were ushered back into YouTube to correct this faulty operation. As it turns out, humans are great at spotting nuances and reading content better and making more well-informed decisions in censorship than a lifeless piece of code. I would like to leave it there today, folks. I know that this was a lot of information, but after this was brought to my attention by fans of the show, such as Game Linkers, and after reading and seeing all the backlash on social media around the world over this matter, I felt it necessary to make a report over it, especially since it affects the Minecraft community. This was meant to be a 5-minute episode today, folks, but it resulted in it just being much longer. I have a huge passion for the protection of the First Amendment, and I don't necessarily trust large corporations to have any sort of ethical code or moral compass in how they conduct business. Those are my personal sentiments, but I hope today's report on the YouTube implementation of AI use for age assurance or verification has enlightened you to a degree. In conclusion, while safeguarding minors from disturbing content is undeniably important, the way YouTube is going about it with AI age verification opens up a can of worms. We're handing over our identities to an algorithm that guesses our age. And if it guesses wrong, we're forced to cough up personal documents like a credit card or government ID just to prove we're adults. That's invasive and, frankly, feels like corporate overreach masked as protective measures. History shows us, like with YouTube's AI moderation fiasco during COVID, that AI often misses the mark, over-censoring and messing things up. Add to that the cozy relationship between tech giants and government interests, and it's hard not to feel like this is less about safety and more about control and profit. At the end of the day, it's not just about protecting kids. It's about protecting our rights, our privacy, and our freedom to exist online without being treated like data points in someone's revenue model. I'll be watching this closely as it unfolds. I would like to now move on to the next topic of discussion on the show, which is the upcoming Thursday Realm News episode, where I have our first ever musician on the show who is also a Minecraft content creator. His name is Randy Bishop. My friends, I am here to tell you about a very special guest who I had the honor to meet on Realm News to discuss their art in Minecraft content creation and music. It was a truly great discussion with an extraordinarily talented man. Their name is Randy Bishop, and you can find their work at Randy Bishop Games on YouTube or look for the link in the show description in the Works Cited section. I found a great clip of our discussion where Randy found a way to describe a juxtaposition where music relates to streaming and content creation. Just listen to this fascinating clip of Randy explaining it.
Or playing shows and what have you. There's like streaming is basically playing a show. It's not that different. And except for there's a lot more improv. I guess it would be like playing a show if you were in a jazz improv group a little bit more streaming. Because, being a rock band, everything's prescribed. Like we know the beginning and end of the song. We know the set list. We know exactly how things are going to go. Mm-hmm. And there might be a little bit of impromptu, crowd banter or what have you, but that's about it. And then releasing videos is very similar to releasing music. It's, you just a lot of work in editing and design and getting everything just right, and then pushing publish. Obviously, there's a visual aspect rather than just audio, but yeah, all that stuff is actually what keeps me going.
I love how Randy draws parallels between jazz or impromptu style of music to streaming. Only an artist is capable of seeing such links. This Thursday, you will not want to miss my Part 1 discussion with Randy Bishop titled Part 1, Crafting Worlds, Composing Tunes, a chat with Randy Bishop. With that said, folks, that wraps up this week's Realm News Flash. I will see you all this Thursday. I wish you all a great rest of your day and happy crafting. The Dark Lord. Signing out. Hey, Realm News fans, it's your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. I am here to tell you that your support means everything. Spread the word by telling friends, liking, and commenting on Spotify or Good Pods. Find me on X, Blue Sky, Reddit, or via email at bio.link/realmnews. For more content, join my Patreon at the Copper, Diamond, and VIP tiers for early episodes, bonus content, and newsletters. Find out more at bio.link/realmnews. No pressure, though. Just keep listening, liking, and sharing. That's more than enough. Happy crafting, and see you at the next Realm News.